This image shows a breakwater and a marina. Breakwaters create protected marinas on one side, protecting the coast from the impact of waves. However, they interrupt the progress of waves to the beach. They weaken the longshore current and they allow sand to accumulate on the opposite side of the marina. Dredging of the sand that's accumulated here is needed, otherwise, the sand will eventually reach the breakwater. The diagram and the aerial photograph shows the Santa Barbara Harbor and the breakwater that was constructed. After the construction of the harbor, the beach extended around the breakwater. The harbor was in danger of being closed off by the accumulating sand. As a result, dredging operations were initiated to move the sand from the harbor down the coast to help reduce the coastal erosion that was also beginning to take place after the construction of the breakwater. So the breakwater interrupted the longshore drift. It caused the sands to accumulate around the breakwater, and it caused accelerated erosion down the coast. Dredging was needed to remove the sand that was threatening closing the harbor, and now the sand is being added to the area where erosion was being accelerated. Jetties or groins are extensions of rock placed at right angles to the longshore drift. They stop the longshore transport of sediment, and erosion is accelerated down the coast, so similar to the breakwater. Cliffs are then exposed to an accelerated erosion, and the accretion of sand occurs in the other side. So here we have a diagram that calls the longshore drift as the net littoral drift, but it's the same as the longshore transport or the longshore drift. Sometimes it is referred as the net littoral drift. So the sand will accumulate on one side and the other side will receive increased erosion. This image shows the two jetties with sand accumulating on one side, and the other side will be subject to erosion. In Santa Cruz, with the construction of the two jetties to allow for the Santa Cruz small craft harbor, the creation of the jetties extended the Seabright Beach and Main Beach, which created then a barrier to the exit of San Lorenzo River. So the San Lorenzo River can no longer flow into the ocean, and it started to flood Main Beach and create a lagoon. And sometimes that lagoon can flood the basement of the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Another example of accelerated coastal erosion due to the construction of jetty. This is Capitola Beach, this is Capitola Pier, and the jetty constructed south of the Capitola Pier. The jetty was there in order to provide sand for Capitola Beach, but all the construction or the cliffs on the other side and the houses that are on top of those cliffs are in danger of the accelerated erosion because the sand now is being collected at the Capitola Beach, and the waves are then eroding the cliffs south of Capitola Beach. Another example of human interference with longshore current and drift is when seawalls are constructed. Seawalls are typically built to protect houses constructed near the shore. However, seawalls have the opposite effect. They can increase beach erosion by deflecting the wave energy into the sand. Churning by this energy will eventually undermine the seawall, causing the collapse of it. Here, a photograph showing a seawall in Solana Beach that has been damaged by waves and needs repair now. And you can see the houses or an apartment building situated right above that seawall. That's this erosion, this damage that you see here is a result of the continual pounding of high energy waves. So what these diagrams showed here is exactly what's occurring at Solana Beach in Southern California. Solutions to hard stabilization engineering, such as jetties, groins, seawalls, harbors, includes beach nourishment, which is transporting sand into the beach, construction restrictions, so avoid building near the shore, and also relocation, which is the hardest one to take place. In terms of beach nourishment, which is the importation of sand to the beach, that sand can be the sand that is trapped behind dams if there's a dam on the river upstream from the coast. The problem with beach nourishment, it's a temporary solution because the longshore drift and coastal erosion will continue to happen. So you have to continue the beach nourishment. So it becomes very expensive. It disturbs the biodiversity of the male fauna that lives in that sand. And so it's not a perfect solution.